Hey everyone, this is Pake for Life. I know it's been a while, but today's review is a special early look at a color test shot of Mastermind Creations R07 Felisaber, their 6th member of their Feralcon group. So before we get started, just a disclaimer as always with all my prototypes / test shot reviews, this shouldn't be misconstrued as a final product. There are likely going to be tweaks and improvements before this guy is finally released. And he is pushed back, delayed until February of 2015, so you can probably expect some significant improvements to this mold, or at least to the accessories that are going to come included with this guy, which are numerous. We'll get through that in a little bit. I wanted to thank Mastermind Creations and Toy Dojo for allowing me to do this early review, and without further ado, let's go ahead and go right into robot mode review. So as you can see, this guy is a retool and recolor for of Tigris, their earlier Feralcon member, and he's almost identical, and we'll show him side by side in a little bit. But I did want to go through some of the unique features of this guy, so let's go ahead and look at the head sculpt. And a lot of you may be asking, who is this guy supposed to be? And he's not really supposed to be anyone in particular, honestly. He does kind of homage Catilla, who was a pretender in the UK Marvel G1 series, but he's not a particularly, I guess, popular character. He does show up in some of the other comic series, but he's loosely based on that figure. So the colors and kind of the head sculpt, as you see here, is based on that. I think the head sculpt is fine. It's kind of boring to me, but you do get a nice red face and metallic blue eyes, which look really nice. They kind of pop. And it's the only blue you see on this figure, so it's kind of cool. So, as with Tigris, he does have the same articulation. We'll go through that very quickly. His head's on that ball joint. He does have the articulation on the alt mode head on his chest as well, and you can open the mouth. I'll show that a little bit later in the alt mode. He still has the nice ratchets on the shoulders here and going out. He has the bicep swivel, but also the bicep kind of bend, double jointed elbows. He has wrist swivel and also a little bit of wrist movement forward and back for mostly for transformation purposes. He does have that really great waist crunch, which helps for his limb mode, his arm mode. And he has 2 points of articulation for his waist, so you can go 360 above the ab crunch and below. Nice ratchets, tight ratchets here and going out, so he gets a lot of range of movement. A little bit less going back because you get some interference. And then you have nice ratcheted knees that go pretty far, a little bit more than 90 degrees. And his feet are kind of what you've come to expect from the Feralcon feet. You have this kind of hinge here and a post that has a ball joint at the end, which gives you a lot of range of motion at the cost of some hollowness. But if you pose them correctly, you're going to be able to hide a lot of that. And then his toe also does bend, so you get some toe articulation, which is great. So a lot of articulation, so a lot of posability with this guy. The mold's fantastic. I mean, aside from being a remold and a lot of parts being reused, the Mastermind Creations team does a really good job with just the design of their characters and allowing for a lot of posability. So yeah, that's really about it for robot mode. Let's go ahead and bring in Tigris just so you can see what he looks like side by side. And you'll see they're essentially exactly the same figure. I'll point out the minor differences that you'll see with the remolds. So the head of their feline alt modes is different, as you can see. And then this chest piece here is slightly remolded. So these look kind of like cannons, while Tigris kind of just had a metal plate with some rivets. And of course the head is molded differently. But aside from that, just this paint and plastic color differences, nothing else. At least from what I can see. So we'll get Tigris out of there. And then we'll look at his accessories. Right now I only have his gun, which is not going to be the only thing that's included, but I wanted to make note of this. It's a single molded piece, and is very much in the style of the Royal Arsenal from Professor Heisenberg. The same kind of aesthetic, which is great if you bought that set, but it doesn't really go that well with the guns that we got before. I mean, you don't have the gunmetal details, they're not as sleek and I guess squared off as the original guns that came with the Feralcons. But if you got the Royal Arsenal, this is going to fit in absolutely perfectly. And I haven't figured out a way to combine it with the combine mode blaster either, so I don't think it can. But it looks pretty good. Again, it's very much in the same style as Professor Heisenberg, and you can check out that video review. I'll link that in the description below. Yeah, but that's really it with robot mode. I'm not going to show the transformation just because it's identical to Tigris's. If you want to see that, go ahead and click on the link that I'm going to post somewhere maybe around here, and you can see the detail there. But I'm going to go straight into alt mode so you guys can see that and do some comparisons with Tigris, and then we'll go finally into limb mode. So be back right after the cut. Alright, and we're back. So let's go ahead and take a look at Felisaber in all sides. And again, he's if you have Tigris, which you probably do if you're looking at this review, nothing new here. You're still going to have the same exact look, aside again from what I touched on before, which was the head sculpt and the chest pieces, and of course the robot mode head. I will mention that there are a couple of missing pieces on mine. I don't know where the pieces come from. I didn't even know that these could even be removed, but I'm missing a couple of pieces for these spikes. So if you want to remove those, I've always found them super annoying, but you can remove them if you'd like. One thing that I will mention, in addition to the gun, which you can plug in to the shoulders using these side pieces, these side pegs, you're going to get a bunch of other stuff with this guy. So you're going to also get a kind of a helmet for the alt mode head, which will also double as a gauntlet in robot mode. In addition to that, we're also going to get a special secret minifigure, which is somehow been shown to us. They hinted that on their Facebook page. It's probably going to be somebody that, or a small minifigure that we saw in the comics, I'm guessing, but I'm not really sure. And they're also going to come with a bunch of other additional pieces, like I think red hooves for Bovis, as well as some alternate robot mode faces for Bovis and Fortis with a different expression. And I'm hoping the helmet or alternate headpiece will cover up some of the gap that we've seen here, where you can see the robot mode head in alt mode. But as far as articulation, nothing new again. You got that shoulder articulation, you have the nice hinges back here, and the post. All the nice arm articulation we saw before in robot mode is carried through here in alt mode. And you have the toes that are on a hinge and on a swivel there. On the back you have like the knee, and then the wrist, I guess, and then I don't know, so foot articulation on a ball joint here. The tail we have on two pins there and here, so you get a very angular tail or straight tail, but not a nice curved tail. The head can move up and down to kind of cover that. You do have it on a ball joint, and I had it open before, but you can open him up and have a big roaring look. Roar. And I really like the saber-tooth fangs that he has. They look really nice. And then you can see he has kind of like a visor as opposed to just two separate eyes. And as before, he does have those two pieces of waist articulation and the ab crunch. If you use the two waist swivels, you can get the ab crunch good both ways. You can get him hunched this way, or as I showed before, you can have him crunch upwards like that. But yeah, so you're going to get a lot with this guy. And and he will complete kind of your Feralrex mode, which we'll get into next. So he becomes another arm, just like Tigris, to kind of balance out, and then you move Talon to the back. So I'll show that off in just a second after the cut. Well, actually, let's go ahead and bring in Tigris just to do the comparisons real quick. So just the head, again, nothing crazy. And these sections here, and they both still have the robo mode heads and faces showing behind those. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a quick cut and go into arm mode and show them off with the ultimate mode Feralrex. Alright, so we're back and we have Rex kind of transformed. I actually just took a guess on how Talon was supposed to be attached. I just basically just popped him on the back. I'm not really sure, they didn't really give instructions on how to properly transform him. I'm hoping they do that with Felisaber's instructions. Oh, and of course now I can't get him to stand like I had him before. So with Felisaber, we just have him in arm mode, as you would expect, and just use the fists that go in between the legs. And all you do is plug them right in. And this way you have, you know, equal arms, as you can see, like balanced arms to go with the balanced legs. And some people I think even the promo pictures have his arm on the left and Tigris on the right. I just do it this way just because I always go by the cartoon configuration. I always had Bovis on the left leg and Tigris on the left arm. But again, your figure, your desires on how you want to pose them. But yeah, this is what the ultimate form of Feralrex looks like, and I'm sorry that I can't fit them all into frame at once, but you should have a really good idea of what he looks like now, and whether you really want you know, Felisaber to complete your Rex or not, or if you're happy with just Talon playing as an arm. I think you should be happy both ways. But I think it's really nice that they give you this option, and a lot of people just like the fact that we have a kind of Catilla Pretender figure that will be made available. So again, this guy is pushed back until February. A lot of great stuff is going to be coming in with him. So my final thoughts are, I really like the figure. I always liked the Tigris mold. I do wish they did a little bit more in terms of remolding. But the price of the figure is pretty low, and they're going to throw in a lot of extras. Like I said, the extras for Bovis and Fortis, as well as the extra like helmet for alt mode that doubles as a gauntlet for robot mode. So yeah, I mean, and the minifigure, which we still don't know about yet. So I think you're going to probably get a lot of value out of this guy, even if you don't absolutely feel like you need him. And it's a cool color too. And if you do the left arm configuration, you'll have kind of yellow on opposite sides and orange on opposite sides. Like right now, he's kind of like half and half red, half yellow. But yeah, that's a quick look at the color test shot for Felisaber. Again, thank you Mastermind Creations and Toy Dojo. And one more disclaimer that this is a test shot, so all my comments, you know, they may be doing some retooling to make him look a lot more different than Tigris than he currently does. I'm not sure, but we'll see come February next year. Okay? If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you like what I'm doing, give it a thumbs up. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you like what I'm doing, so you can keep up to date with all my videos and reviews and news and so forth. Alright, well, that's all for today, everyone. Have a good one.